People say, look for the truth, and the truth will set you free. Now, what exactly does that mean? What is the truth? How does it set you free? And what does it set you free from? For a principle-centered system such as the family's golden system, we rely on principles to navigate and to find happiness. An example of the principle-centered approach is, if your goal is to take a rock and throw it as far away from you as possible, now would you go to the bottom of the valley and throw the rock towards the sky? Or would you go to the top of the mountain and throw the rock into the valley? When you throw the rock from the top of the mountain, you are aligned with the gravity. You are aligned with the principle of the gravity. So the gravity will take the rock 1,000 feet away from you, for example. However, when you throw the rock up into the sky from the bottom of the valley, the rock will not be very far away from you. It's a very obvious example. And similarly, there are many other principles in life. Spiritual principles, emotional principles, organizational principles. And these principles will either support or destroy your family. So this is the third teaser for the family's golden system. And I would like to introduce a principle to you right now. It's called the principle of doing one's best. Is it true that an ant or a spider, when you threaten the little insects, when they feel threatened, they scurry, they try to hide, they try to run away, because they want to be happy, they want to stay alive. Similar to a dog, if a dog comes up to you, you offer the dog something to eat, the dog will like you, because the dog believes that getting food from you is better than being hit by you with a stick. So animals, if a mouse has anger, if you threaten a mouse, it will get angry, it will fight you, it will bite you if it's necessary. And the spiders, the ants, the dog, or the mouse, each one of them is doing the best they can. Now look at yourself. Think about how your day was. Think about your interactions and maybe some harsh things you have said to your spouse, or to your children, or to your parents. Given how you felt, and given what you believed, and given your conflict resolution style, you did the best you knew how. You defended yourself, or you tried to attack the other person, or you just gave up. Whatever it is that you did, that's the best you knew how to do at that moment. So look within yourself to see if this is true. Because if something is true, and if it is a principle, that means it is true for you that you are doing your best at all times. When you drive, when you work, when you go to school, when you are with your spouse, when you are with your children, when you are with your siblings, you are doing your best at any given moment. Now, is that true for you? That is not to say that you don't want to become better, you don't want to get more educated, you don't want to eat healthier, you don't want to exercise more. It is not saying that, but it is saying that for the moment, for each moment, you are doing the best you know how. Is that true for you, or is it not true for you? Look within yourself. And you can say, yeah, I should have known better, I should have done this, I should have said that, I shouldn't have said this, I shouldn't have done that. Regardless of all the should haves and should not haves, the question is, did you give it your personal best giving your judgment, or maybe you were drunk, or maybe you were tired, or maybe you were hungry, or maybe you were emotionally unstable. Whatever the reasons or the excuses are, did you do your best? Even if you ended up in prison, did you get up in the morning and say, I'm going to ruin my life and go to prison? I believe the principle of doing your best is applicable not only to the animals who want happiness, who want to stay alive, not only to you as a human being, but to every single human being. However much you judge them, you dislike them, or maybe you even hate them, you resent them, you condemn them for being who they are. How come they don't behave as a good parent? How come she's a poor mother? How come he is a lousy, absent, unreliable father? And why does he drink so much? And why does she smoke so much? And how come they never exercise? And how come they don't care about how you feel? Regardless of all these judgments, you look at yourself and say, do you make mistakes? And when you make mistakes, did you make them intentionally? And even if you made them intentionally, isn't that the best judgment you knew how to do at that moment? As such, look into your life. If something indeed is a principle, it is applicable to you all the time, anywhere, anytime, repeatable, predictable. So look at your mother-in-law, look at your sister-in-law, look at your daughter-in-law, look at your son-in-law, and see that they have their own limitations, they have their own experiences, they have their own problems and traumas and desires in life. So if it is true for them, it is true for you. And isn't it true of everybody all the time? Look deeply into this. Try to free yourself from your judgment and your condemnation and your anger and your hatred that he is an SOB and I will not ever accept that he's a human being. I understand. I often have felt that way. Not only in the past, every now and then, I still have those feelings. But then I catch myself and I said, is it true that I do my best all the time? Even when I screw up. Even when I didn't brush my teeth when I was a kid. I used to stay in bed and lick powdered sugar and then I would go to sleep. And boy, the cavities and the troubles I have had in my life. But I did the best I knew how. It was rather poor. So I accept myself. I accept my mistakes. I accept that I had my limitations, that I'm a human being. It's not to make excuses for my weaknesses, but it's to see things the way they are. That indeed we try the best we can, and we do the best we can. Every day, every moment. However foolish, however emotional, however violent we become, we are doing the best we know how, given our training, our capacity, our experiences, our limitations, our tendencies, and our basic personalities. We can improve, and we must improve. But the fact is, if it is a principle, then it is a fact. It is immutable, and it is timeless. Did the Egyptians do their best when they built their pyramids? Did the Chinese did their best when they built their Great Wall? Did anybody, whoever in history? We do the best we can, much like the salmons when they run upstream, they leap over waterfalls, they run, throw themselves onto rocks, and they do the best they can. And then when they go to the upstream, they are beat up for the few that get there. Similarly, each one of us on our life's journey, we do the best we can. Even if we sit down and get drunk and get obese and just watch TV, that's the best we know how. No excuses, but look at it. Look deeply into your own heart, your own self. See if you can see that this is a principle. People say when it comes to understanding human beings, it is very much like making a handle for an axe with an axe. So the model of the handle of the axe that you are trying to make is in your hand. The model is at hand. So other human beings are similar to you as human beings. We have emotions, we want to be happy, we don't want suffering, we do the best we know how at any given moment. Even if we commit heinous crimes, we have made a decision to do that based on our best judgment. So if that is true, that you are doing your best, even if I